What's going on, dudes and dude Ed? So yes, the USC women of Troy had a very tough game today, right before the Sweet 16. If they were able to win this, and luckily they were able to beat Kansas tonight, 73-55. Juju Watkins, the freshman, had 28 points, 11 rebounds, and 5 assists. And now they're going to be playing Baylor in the next round in the Sweet 16. So obviously only 16 teams left. So I think they haven't been this far in the tournament since like 1994. I think that's what they said. So obviously when I was like 3 or 4 years old, and obviously was not a fan of USC at the time, but yeah, it's been quite a while. So yeah, it's a pretty big thing for them, and yeah, it's very tough. They had a really good lead in the first half, but then got down to like 2 points or 1 point, something like that. But yes, luckily they were able to pull away and get this victory. Definitely well earned. I don't know how good Baylor is, but I think they should get by them next weekend, and then they'll pretty much get the winner of the Duke and UConn women's side game. So that'll be pretty interesting to see not only that game, but then who comes out of it to play against USC, because that could be a pretty good matchup either way, in my opinion. So looking forward to that. I want to update on a lot of USC recruiting. I had to get through all the main guys being talked about, Justice Terry, Isaiah Gibson, all those guys in the last video yesterday, but wanted to get through a lot of ones that I have missed out on as of late. There is a 5-star wide receiver named Khalik Lockett who says USC is in very hot pursuit of him. So obviously he's getting a lot of attention from them and the coaches and the scouting department. So that's really good to see them going after a very talented 5-star player. So looking forward to that. And there was a 4-star safety that recently got offered by USC and was visiting them. His name is Dillard-Allen. And he says after that visit this last weekend that USC is among one of his top schools that he is considering. So that's a really good thing for them heading into the future. Then there was another guy, actually 247 Sports recently released a top 25 of the recruiting rankings in the class. We talked about On3 yesterday ranking USC in the top 3 after those, 4 commitments total in the class of 2025. They had the number 3 class total. And then I've always talked about 247 Sports not liking USC because with those players added to their rankings, USC is only ranked like the 15th or 16th best team. So it's pretty obvious that if these guys were committed to somewhere else, it would raise up those other teams' rankings more than it has USC. I don't know what they have against USC, but I know they did a live video on their show earlier today, and I think the first half was talking about all the guys flipping and committing to USC, so I'll definitely check that out later to hear them have to talk about USC now. But either way, they definitely deserve more credit than the 15th or 16th best team in the nation right now. And then yes, when it came to On3, they recently released who were their main 5-star players. And as of right now, USC does have that defensive lineman, the new guy who committed, Justice Terry, as a 5-star, and then the quarterback who has already been committed to USC for a while, Julian Lewis. So, like I said, they got very talented players, but On3 definitely likes USC a bit more. And a couple of talented 2025 players recently put out their top 5, top 12 lists, and USC is in both of them. For the top 2025, actually it's a number 3 defensive lineman, Nathaniel Marshall, put USC in his top 12, and the 2025 4-star cornerback Dorian Brew put USC in his top 5 as well. I don't know if they were visiting or not this last weekend, but if they're already making way on some guys that are coming in to visit soon, or maybe planning future visits, and it's looking good so far for USC. And then there's a future guy, I believe he's in the 2026 class, Brandon Lockhart. He's the cornerback, and after all the news that's been happening at USC recently, he still says he's definitely committed to USC, or at least coming to USC. I know Georgia was kind of in the mix now because Dante Williams is now one of the safeties coach and recruiting coaches out there who was at USC, who pretty much got his commitment pretty early when he was like a freshman or sophomore right now. But either way, like I said, if USC still continues to get a lot of these very talented players, and they should be able to keep a lot of the guys in the future to still commit to USC. So that's looking good so far. And a couple of ex-USC linebackers are getting a little bit of upgrades on their coaching ladder. I know the ex-linebacker Jordan Iosefa is now a defensive control analyst. I know USC has some of those, but those guys aren't really technically coaches on the roster. I know he is at TCU now, but either way, he's moving on up, trying to get a main, position coaching job at some point in the near future. So not a bad place to start for him. And then the ex-USC linebacker Michael Hutchins, I guess he was kind of coaching at USC as those control analysts, and then went to Western Kentucky. But now, I guess he has been with the Minnesota Vikings for a bit because he was just promoted to the main safeties coach out there. So it's obvious that he was in the program / place out there with that team. So yes, he did get promoted. So that's pretty good to see. As long as these ex-players from USC or guys who were once coaching or quality control analysts or whatever you call it are now getting jobs in other places around the country, then that'll be pretty good to get some other new good guys in USC's coaching search. That'd be pretty cool. And On3 put a list out of the rankings of the coaches that are now in the Big Ten. Obviously, they had Ohio State's Ryan Day at the top, but they then put USC's Lincoln Riley at number 2, which is a pretty big thing because it is his first time being in a new type of conference. But I know he always gets smack talk everywhere else that he hasn't proven enough or done enough while in college, so he doesn't probably deserve at least a number 2 ranking. But I'm pretty sure a lot of this movement when it came to recruiting and some success in the transfer portal helped him out a bit in this ranking. So either way, not mad about that. As long as some of the recruits get to see it too, then they obviously know they're going to be going into a good situation once they come to USC. And then PFF did a career with most career receiving yards for the couple of the draft eligible wide receivers. And Taj Washington, the now ex-USC receiver, was number 5 on that list. So yeah, he's definitely got a lot of receiving yards, not only in college, but hopefully he will be getting that in the NFL as well soon coming up. And there was this now guard, an ex-guard of New Mexico who went into the transfer portal, Jamal Mashburn Jr. I remember that name. I'm pretty sure he played with the Heat, something like that, his father in his career. But yeah, his son is pretty good. I know New Mexico had a lot of hype heading into the March Madness tournament. They were like an 11th seed. A lot of people thought they were going to go pretty far because of their head coach and all this stuff and a lot of older players, but didn't work out. But he is one of the better players on that team, averaged over 14 points. And I know it's going to be tough for him to go to a place like Duke, but I know USC is probably going to experience some more guys leaving into the portal, so he can just skip over not that far away to SoCal and hopefully go play with USC. I think that could be a good place for him. And the Anaheim Ducks lose again in overtime, 2-3 to the Tampa Bay Lightning. So there's your Ducks updates. And then Anthony Davis of the Lakers was recently named the West Player of the Week. I believe he averaged 27 points, 16 rebounds, and 2 blocks in that span. And the Lakers were also 3-0 during last week also. So that's pretty good on his resume to be able to get this Player of the Week. So that's all good as long as they're continuing to win and him still getting stats and staying healthy. That's all we care about as Lakers fans. And then the other day, and on some miscellaneous news, there was an anniversary. I think it said a 13-year anniversary of this Yellow Card record, one of the punk rock or alternative rock bands that I've liked from the early 2000s of their record. When You're Through Thinking, Say Yes. I know there's a lot of good songs on that record. It maybe was kind of like the tail end after their bit of hype from Lights and Sounds and Ocean Avenue. It was kind of like smack dab in the middle, because then they had another record come out pretty soon after that called Awakenings, Southern Air. But either way, I still like that era of Yellow Card, even though their latest record was I can't even call it a record. There's only 5 songs, I think. I probably liked 3 of them officially. I think I put those on my phone, but other than that, I kind of expected more, especially from their album before that, which was supposed to be their final one, which really wasn't good in my opinion. But hoping for a nice comeback. They're doing some concerts and stuff and trying to make a little bit of a comeback here, so hopefully I get some good new music from them soon. Thanks for watching, people. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Let me know what y'all think. Have a good rest of your day.